guys, so I'm going to wear this Facebook thing out to the death, aren't I? I'm just sitting here watching Can't Pay, Take It Away. I don't make a habit of watching television shows like that because, well, it kind of brings me to the point that I want to make right now. Now, what is your opinion on, obviously, high court, enforcement officers? Take away the high court enforcement officer bit, yeah? Just think, because obviously it's a job, it's just a job title. In my mind, that's what it is, it's a job title. If they weren't doing something, they'd be, if they weren't doing that, they'd be doing something else and it'd be called something completely different. But I'm sitting there watching it. I only happened to watch like 5 minutes of it, so obviously I don't have much to go on just from what I obviously saw. Elderly man, he's an optician, he's selling glasses, a debt of over £4,000. He couldn't pay it. It's not like they turned up at the door and said, right, you owe this amount of money, pay us. As they do, that's their job. These high court enforcement officers, that they just turn up, say, give me the money, and they walk off. And the geezer, he rung up, the bank to check what he had in his own personal account, not his business account, his own personal account. Couldn't do it from that. So he rung up a few of his, people that he knows. Couldn't do that. So obviously it got to, a point where he couldn't pay. The guys had, given him the opportunity to, be able to try and find some money, which, is quite nice of them to do. They could have just marched in with their paperwork, and taken the stuff. I don't know what the cycle is, or the procedure to doing it is, but, do you know what I mean? They could do. Then, they were like, right, if you can't pay, cash today in full, blah, 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 we have to take possession of your possessions, and the debt then goes up by, well, in this instance, another £1,000 is what it went up. I don't know if that's every time or every fucking case. So he rang his son. But for the whole time, the elderly gentleman was telling him, I don't have the money. Do you know what I'm saying? Why don't you have a better job? Why can't you, be sweeping the streets or nursing the elderly? And that's obviously what, choked me into doing this. What's your opinion? Is it a job? Do you hold resentment towards them because they're coming to take your stuff because, an imaginary debt's been put up against you? Do you break it down that far? Or are you, just some geezer's turned up at my door and wants to take my stuff? That's not fucking happening. What is it? Because, the way I see it is, no one's coming into my house and taking, what I've worked for, my possessions, my children's stuff. No, that's not going to happen. People can sit there and say, oh yeah, but they turn up with a piece of paper. Yeah, they turn up with a piece of paper. I can chuck pieces of paper at them. My kid's drawn loads of bits of paper. It still doesn't give them any authority to do anything at all. I know a little bit between normal bailiffs and high court force officers. They can ring up the old bill and the old bill help them. But the old bill have no power unless you give it to them. So, some entity can't, have power for them, to work on their behalf against you if you don't consent to it. As far as my gathering is to it. Now, how can somebody all of a sudden just march into your crib and go, right, I'm taking your shit? That doesn't happen. That can't happen. I think there was one before. And this is one of the reasons why I don't watch shows like this, is because it always seems to be aimed towards the misfortunate people, the poor. I don't really want to say the poor. I tried finding a different word there. Isn't it not? Because you don't see a swanky little toss pot lighting a fucking cigar with a tenner. I'm not saying they do that, but do you know what I'm saying? You don't see that. You see the person on benefits, smoking cigarettes, kids running riot in the streets and stuff like that. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not, You know, that's a small minority of people. Even, you know, few families in certain instances that happens. It's not everybody, but we don't tar everybody with the same brush when you're thinking about posh, snobby swanks, fucking like, you know, doing that, or the amount of money they funnel in, you know, taxpayers' money into second properties, or, you know, putting up against, you know, paedophile cases and fucking jetting off on holidays and all this crap. Do you know what I'm saying? It's a little bit disproportionate, really, because all we see is what, you know, is portrayed in front of the television. Like I say, you know, the benefit street, this, that, and the other. And don't get me wrong, their families in that are struggling, but they don't exactly paint a very good picture for everybody. You know, I'm on state benefits, but I don't consider myself a fucking scumbag. I try to do my best. If I don't have to use money that they give, you know, in state benefit, I won't. I don't take the piss. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't have every single light on in my fucking house. Do you know what I'm saying? You keep your running costs at the low, so you don't pay out as much. So you're not such a, I don't want to say burden on society, because I think that's what we've been hoodwinked into believing. Do you know what I'm saying? I've worked, you know, and I'm still actively looking for work, and my partner's actively looking for work. You know, it doesn't stop. The grind doesn't stop for people on the dole just because every 2 weeks they happen to get a check. You know, I know to some people that work, they don't see it that way, is because obviously they go out, they do their 9 to 5 or whatever their hours are, and they do the struggles that are in their life. But, you know, I think people do need to start looking at both ends of the spectrum. If you work, maybe stop working, you know, for I don't know, 2 or 3 months, and go on the dole and see what needs to happen for you to claim the dole and the struggles. And because it's not about getting up every day and going to work. You know, I know loads of people that have, you know, panic attacks and anxiety attacks looking for work and that, because they feel the pressure. They want to work, they want to be contributing towards the society they wish to change, but unfortunately there are no jobs for people with qualifications. Qualifications cost money, and money you don't have. It's a vicious circle of error from the start. But that's a different video, guys. I'm going to carry on cooking my dinner. I'll speak to you soon. Peace and love.